It may be early, but I would say there's our champion. We can probably all go home with this. First and foremost, I want to thank God, and then today, especially his mother, for her yes. We will all have the opportunity to be saved, so thank you to our queen. I also want to thank the St. Thomas More community for giving me a chance to be here. Our Chancellor, Father Russo, our President, Richard Laverne, our Principal, Kelly Leger, our Athletic Director, Kim Broussard, and my head coach and former head coach is also a player, Jim Hightower. Just thankful to represent such an amazing institution that I was allowed to go to, and now I get to go back and give back to our school, and it's definitely a blessing. From the St. Thomas More community, I'd like to congratulate the Queen. Hope you have a wonderful week. I hope it's filled with everything you can imagine. True story, we had a girl from our options program. She was the queen, I want to say it was around 5 years ago. Her dad found me last week and said that to this day, every time they meet somebody, he's got to tell the story about this week and her week, you know, and how she was the queen. So it's a special event you guys put on. I just want to thank you guys for that. Thank you to the Kiwanis. I can't imagine there being a better jamboree in the country. Tremendous venue. It's run really well. It's smooth. All we have to do is show up and play, and it's done very, it's first class. But you guys are first class in everything that you do. From Clark Field giving us an opportunity to have another all-weather playing surface down in Lafayette, and then the special needs park that you put in North Park. Just thank y'all for everything that y'all do. As a citizen of Lafayette, I'm very thankful. You know, last year when I talked to you, it was post-floods. Quite emotional time for our whole city, for everything we were, and I made the statement, no matter what happens from here, if we don't win another game, we've done our job as coaches. Well, we won a few games last year, we were lucky. The pieces just came together. Tall, awkward, clumsy quarterback ends up becoming a state record holder. We had a kid with a bum knee who ends up breaking the record in the state championship game, who didn't play the entire game the whole senior year until the state championship game. Things fell into place. But as we walked off the field at the Superdome, they give you this wooden piece of wood, this trophy. And this trophy is supposed to basically capsulize everything that you do as a coach. And I remember looking into the stands, I remember looking at our kids, and we actually go into the locker room, and the trophy was actually put in the corner of the locker room as the kids embraced each other and told each other they loved each other. And it brought about the idea that it's not about that stinking trophy. Sure, that's what we sell, and sure, that's the goal that we push our kids to, but man, it's not what it's all about. And you know, I couldn't imagine giving my life and my time away from my family if the only thing I was trying to do is win this piece of wood that's supposed to say that I'm worthwhile. It's so much more, and a lot of people just don't get it. They don't get why people show up 50, 40, 30 years post high school to high school football games, because there was something special about when they played. You know, we forge men. That's what we do. That's our real job as coaches, and so much in our society today, it's become about the trophy, and we forget what it's really about, and that's the forging of young men. And just like forging of metal, it requires heat and pressure. The game of football provides the heat, literally. It's tough. It's not easy to play football. It's not easy to put on pads. It's not natural to run and hit somebody else. It provides opportunities for adversity that our kids have to fight through. Things aren't just handed to them. They have to work for them. And sometimes they work their butts off and they still don't get what they wanted. And the pressure is provided by our coaches, and we are blessed in the Acadiana area. Our coaches provide the pressure to mold the metal, to mold our kids. You know, the neat thing about pressure is you want to come as close as you can to breaking it without breaking it. Because if you break it, it's gone. And that's what we do. On a daily basis, we flirt the line as coaches with how far can I go with this young man because he needs to get it. And not so we can win some piece of wood, but because at some point, this community is going to need him to stand up and lead. I stand in front of you today because I'm proud, because last year, yeah, we got the trophy, but that doesn't encapsulate what we do. There's a whole community at Acadiana who Bill Dotson formed. There's a whole community at Como who Bobby Banna formed. James Lagesback, Mike Mowad, Coach Ted Davidson, Coach Hightower, Coach Cook. Hopefully, maybe our names will be there one day. And it has nothing to do with the rings or the trophies or the success on the field. It's the success in the hearts of those young men. And that's really what we're after. You know, I would push the Acadiana community once again to change the narrative of our state, to change the narrative of our country, where it's just about championships. It's not about championships. It's about winning in life and supporting the guys who are molding our young men. And you may not agree with them, but they're putting pressure where they think pressure needs to be put so the kid can mold and move. You know, it's so funny. Every year people want to talk about the team. The team's going to be the team. I didn't know until week 8 what we really had last year. I won't know probably until week 9 this year what we really have. You never know. They're 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And as they begin to develop as athletes, they begin to develop as men or women, you kind of see them mold different ways, and you kind of go with that. You know, we're lucky enough we have some kids returning from last year. I think we have 6 on defense. We have our leading tackler returning, and Paul Laborde at linebacker, team leader in sacks last year, and Sam Greenwood, team leader in interceptions. He was an All-Acadiana safety, Kay Broussard. We're lucky. We don't normally have that many returners coming. On offense, we're depleted. We lost our quarterback, we lost all of our wide receivers, but we return our offensive line, and we return some really good backs to go behind them. But if in 10 years, that kid returns, if in 10 years our running back this year, Chris Primo, returns to me, and the only thing he can say about his experience in football is some championship trophy, well then I think I failed. So I hope for you as leaders in our community, change the narrative. For you as leaders in the community, change the narrative. Get it away from it only being about championships. Let's move it to the real goal. We're trying to mold young men. And it's not pretty and it's not easy. And it's hard. The game is hard. It's not simple. We don't get air-conditioned gyms to go in every day. We got to go outside and play. It's going to be hot. You're going to lose your job to someone better. We might lose this week's game to someone better. But the goal is to get it the best you got and move forward. I'm just thankful to be a member of the fraternity of those guys sitting in the back. We are truly blessed in Acadiana to be able to have the great men that are leading our guys right now, not only in the present, but also in the past. This is definitely a who's who of high school coaching in Acadiana, and we're truly blessed. So thank you, Kiwanians, thank you, coaches, for all that you do.